Okay, we've figured out the deer now. We figured out the directions that they're walking in. It doesn't matter what we do or what we put up. They don't seem to bother them. They are just, I mean, they're like pets now. They just come up and eat everything up. It's, man. Boy, they came in last night on these and really worked on all of them. There were be nothing left.
There were none of these eat yesterday, were they?
A little bit on one end down yonder, a little bit, but they went through the whole thing now. It's I mean these are big deer. These ain't little deer.
Yeah. You see their prints.
Yeah, they're walking all in here everywhere. I mean, just.
And you figure there's 3?
I think there's 3 of them according to the tracks. Look at that. I ain't got no feed in the barn. I gotta go put feed in the barn. They done figured out.
They ready to go to the barn this morning.
Yep, we gotta go to the barn and feed them.
The deer are right here. The watermelons is right there.
Good morning, everybody. This is Danny back from Deep South Homestead. As promised in the past, guys, when we do videos, we're going to show you the updates on all of our sweet potatoes as we're growing them. This is the little small patch we have up here by the shop. We have 2 40-foot rows here. They're doing extremely well. Got a little bit of a bug sign popping up in the leaves, but that's quite normal here in the Deep South. And the chamber bitters are popping up in it. That's completely normal. You'll never eradicate them out of the field. But so far, these right here are doing really well. We had a rabbit problem in the beginning, but we eradicated that. And since we've done that, basically these are doing fantastic. We're just waiting now for the day to come when we're able to harvest. Now this was the red variety that we raise here at Deep South Homestead, and they're doing great. They're blooming. As you can see, that doesn't really mean a lot as far as potatoes. It just simply means that they're at that particular age where they bloom. And if yours don't bloom, doesn't mean that they're not making potatoes. It just simply means that maybe they didn't reach the stage that they should. Anytime after 125 days, you can dig your sweet potatoes, and they should be of size to eat if you've given them proper fertility to grow like they need to grow. They don't have to be grown in the garden. They can be grown in containers. They can be grown in raised beds, whatever fits your needs. Just understand, you see how the vines just run all out everywhere? That's what will happen when you plant them. Even if you do them in containers and raised beds, just be aware of that. The vines will run everywhere. Now don't prune the vines back, because if you do, you take away from the growth of the potato, because it needs that to be able to produce a nice potato. So guys, I'm going to take you to the next field and show you what's going on over there. Alright guys, we're back over at the sweet potato patch by the cabin now. This potato patch here got hit by the deer and the rabbits real hard here a while back. It's actually got 3 stages of potatoes in here. The top row is 1 stage, the next 2 is another stage, and the bottom 2 is another stage. And when they hit it, I mean, they almost wiped it out. So we eradicated the rabbit problem. And the deer, we put up this, it's electric goat fence is what it is. We put it around the perimeter, and we put some steel stakes out here in the middle, and we rubbed some Irish Spring soap on them. And I don't know what actually worked here, because the deer have not been back. And we're thankful for that. I don't know if it was the soap that we used, or if it's this, I think it's this white wire stuff we have around it here. It's not electrified. And then we installed a solar light up here. That actually lights this thing up at night. It looks like daylight out here. So it's a combination of those 3 things. We haven't had any more problems with the deer over here, and we're kind of fortunate of that, and we're glad after they made such a hard hit on it to start with. But guys, we do have one more field we're going to go take a look at, and we're going to see what's going on there also. Let me just dig down with my fingers and see what's...
It's a vine.
No, that's a root. That's a potato. It's just not matured yet.
Oh, okay. So it hasn't really.
Nope, they ain't done nothing. See them? They're just skinny and long. Yep. Last night. This wasn't here yesterday. They walked all over it out here. You can see their tracks is in here. There's two of them I've been noticing. There's a mama and her last year fawn, which is a big deer this year. Guys, this is what we're facing right here. Look at this sweet potato patch right here. Now this is in our front yard almost. This is just about in the front yard here. We have tried just about everything here.
It looks like a weed eater went through there.
It does look like a weed eater. I mean, I don't know what else to do here. We have tied ribbon everywhere around the perimeters of this thing. We put these solar flickering candle lights that at night look like a fire burning. You know, we put them in here. We got one on each end here and one out in the middle out here. We've got cattle panels on that side that's about 4 feet apart. We've got fencing right here with the ribbon on top of it, with another fence right beside it there. They say they won't jump if you put two fences kind of close together. That don't work. The ribbon ain't working. The solar lights are not working. We tried the Irish Spring soap here. It's not working. Cheap perfume, it's not working. The pink ribbons, it's not working. We have tomato cages on the other end stuck about every 6 to 8 inches apart down there, all the way around the whole end of the garden. This thing is completely sealed in all the way around. And the deer, they don't pay any attention to nothing. They jump in here. In between these two fences, they say they won't jump between two fences. That's not true. These deer jump in here and actually walk down my cattle lane all the way to the barn. And then they come back and jump over in here. And guys, you can see their feet. They have eat and eat. Their tracks that are in here everywhere. I doubt we'll get anything off of these unless something, you know, really serious happens here. I mean, it's just, there's nothing left to grow a potato. I'll be surprised if we get anything. Now, what is surprising to me is they're not eating the Star of David okra. Usually deer will mow okra down, and they're not fooling with the Star of David okra here. Now, I have it pruned up kind of high, and that may be a lot of it. I mean, I don't know, but they're not messing with the Star of David okra.
And you've got a whole fence there in between of okra, and they're still.
I mean, they pay no attention to nothing here. It doesn't matter. These flickering lights, they don't pay them no mind.
They eat right up to it.
I mean, they eat the plants all around the flickering light right here. I mean, and you see the tomato cages here, how I have them? I mean, I got one little spot right here, but most of them are almost touching each other all the way around the whole thing. My sweet potato vines are running up them. They mowed off all of our rattlesnake beans and all of our stuff on the cattle panels and walked in between the cattle panels. And they're only 3 to 4 feet apart. They walked in between them, went right down them. And here's the other fence right here behind us. About 6 or 8 feet over there is another fence right there. They jumped that fence. Well, there's two fences out there by the road. There's the fence at the road, about another 8 foot. There's another fence. They jump it. They come across here to this fence, jump it, come right here, jump this one, and came in the patch here and still eat. And if they can't, look, they will actually take where these tomato cages has got a little space like this right here. And they'll actually walk and squeeze and push their way through these tomato cages. Even with them pink ribbons there and everything, they don't bother them. When a deer wants what it wants, you're not going to stop it. The only choice we have now is if something doesn't just change drastically, is to go ahead and just eradicate the deer. And I don't know why this year is any different with us trying to eradicate them with everything that we've tried. No, I even parked my pickup truck right here something unusual. I parked the truck there, I've parked the Ranger there. Doesn't matter. They still come up, they walked all around my truck. They're just, it's almost like they're a pet. It's almost like human stuff doesn't bother them. And this red flag in here blowing in the wind that you see right here, usually we put this up over on the other hill back yonder for them coming out of the swamp. They won't come around this stuff if it's flickering like this, because it's just unsettling to them for some reason. But here, oh, they just jump and clear it. They don't pay it no attention whatsoever. And if we happen to leave the gates open on the road up here at night, they just walk in the gate and walk right over here and squeeze in between the tomato cages and come right on in here. You know, so it doesn't matter what we do. So far, we have had absolutely zero luck. Now we have a friend, Mr. Billy up in North Carolina, is going to be sending us a product that he's created called bone sauce. We're going to try that next and see if that will do any good. Not that it's actually going to make a difference now, I don't know, with the potatoes. You know what? I think I might try to dig one and just see if there's even anything down there to be concerned about. Here.
There's a potato.
All right, guys, we're going to dig right here.
It ain't very big, probably, but...
No, I don't want to break them loose from the plant, because it's tied in right there. I'm trying to... Oh, the ground's like concrete. All this rain has packed it so hard. I don't feel anything. Now, there's one down there, I feel.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
But they're tiny.
It's just the root, more or less.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're no size to them.
But they will eat if we have to dig them.
If we have to, we'll use them. You know, I mean, put some dirt back over it. I don't want the sun. You know, without the leaves on the plants, they're just not going to. They're not going to make potatoes. I mean, that's the whole thing about it. Yeah, see, they're just little old bitty potatoes right there. Look at them. Without them leaves, they're not going to do it. They've got to have that. So guys, we promised you an update on what's going on here, and we're keeping our word. We, as a matter of fact, we'll continue to keep y'all updated on these potatoes here. If we find out anything that will actually work as far as deterring the deer. I mean, the ribbons didn't work, the Irish Spring ain't worked, all the fencing ain't worked, putting two fences close together didn't work. I mean, putting tomato cages around it didn't work, putting the torches in here didn't work, with the flickering flames and all that. Nothing has worked. Guys, we're going to continue to work to see if we can figure out what we're going to be able to do here to salvage our sweet potatoes, and we'll carry you along on that journey. I mean, that's part of our system that we have set up here at Deep South Homestead about doing videos. We're not just going to show you the best videos out there. We're going to show you what we have going on. And this is unusual for us for this time of the year. Now, the deer do come out here in the winter months. When it starts getting to be fall and it gets cool in these acorns, because we're under some big old oak trees here, and when these acorns start falling, yeah, the deer come out, and that's understandable because we've got the only acorn trees around for a long way. And guys, this time of the year, this is really abnormal for us, for the deer to be this headstrong about eating one particular crop. They don't leave here and go toward the other sweet potato patches or nothing like that. They don't walk anywhere else on the homestead. They leave here and go right back across that fence right yonder and go right back where they come from. It's like this is like it's like going out to get pizza for them or something. You know, they're like, okay, let's just go over there and eat some sweet potatoes and then we'll go back home. I mean, that's basically what it looks like, because I have tracked them all the way back over into the woods over here, and that's where they're going, and they're living in the woods on the other side of us, back over on the behind the neighbor's property. Nothing I can do about it right now other than try to keep them away from what we have to eat here. So thank you guys from Deep South Homestead. Guys, I'll show you, we had peas planted all the way down this cattle panel here on this side here. The deer walked over here. You can see their tracks right here. They walked right on top of this black plastic stuff here we have down this ground cover. Walked right down the ground cover and eat. Now they didn't eat the butter peas. That's one thing they didn't do. But they eat every one of the peas off down through here. Got them every one. Even the black ground cover don't even deter them walking on. They'll walk right on top of it. And then they got in between here, and they'd eat all of them off down through here. That you see the gaps in the spaces, especially the rattlesnake beans down here. They cleaned all them up. Nothing left but the very tip tops of them. They got everything down low in between the panels down there. These panels are 3.5 feet apart. They don't care. They walk right between them. Didn't make them no difference. Well, guys, last night about 10:30, I was doing some YouTube work, and I heard our road monitoring system go off. It lets me know if there's anything up on our road anywhere up there. And I was like, that's unusual at this time of the night. So I walked out the door, and I walked over here on the porch, and I have a Warrior O-light here. Now this is a tactical light that's used to, you can blind somebody with it. I mean, literally it's used for like interrogation and things like that. And I walked out right here, and it's about 100 yards to the garden right there. And for the first 100 yards, this thing right here is like daylight. And I flipped this thing on, and all I could see was green eyes up there. And I was like, okay. So when I did that, I was like, something's up there that don't belong up there. So I came around the porch right here and walked down up the sidewalk. Guys, as I walked up the sidewalk with my light on, I figured whatever it was would probably just run away. But I got right here, and now I'm like 50 yards from where it was at, and my light was still shining, and I looked, 3 big deer standing right at the fence of the garden, not even interested in me. They've got their heads down like they're eating. They'll pick up and look at me, but this light is so intense and so bright. I mean, there they were like they were in daylight there. I could see their bodies perfectly. It was a big old mama deer and 2 of last year's yearlings with her. They were all big deer. But I could tell it was her 2 yearlings from last year that was with her, not paying me one bit of attention in the world. Okay, guys, I made it to right here at the cattle panel. My light's still on. I've never turned my light off. I'm sitting here shining, and the deer are right there at that pink ribbon right yonder you see fluttering, which is about 20 or 30 feet from me here. They're just standing there looking at me, not even paying me any attention. I mean, they're not scared. They're not anything like that. They just keep sitting there looking at me. And I'm like, go. You need to get out of my garden. Go. And one of them walked down the hill, jumped over the fence, which the fences aren't 8 feet apart. He walked down the hill, jumped over the fence, and went into the road. The other 2 just stood there and looked at me. They didn't run away. And I'm like, shoo, go. Go. I kept telling them that. And finally the other 2 walked right there and jumped over the fence. And they're all standing in the road, and I'm like, go away, you know. And 30 feet from me, they're just standing there. They're walking up and down the road. And finally I'm like, what am I going to do to make these deer leave? They will not leave. So I got to thinking, I said, well, man, if I had a strobe light, and this one don't have a strobe setting. So I took the O-light, and I began to shake it in my hand like this. And the light was just shooting all over the place. Well, it made them uneasy when I did that, and they went down and went under the neighbor's fence over there and went down in that bottom. And I kept shaking the light at them like that, and then finally they ran up on the hill over yonder on his property and stood under the pine trees and never did leave. I stood here another 30 minutes just about. They never left. And I was like, well, they'll probably come back, you know. So I left, went back to the house because I had to go finish up and get to bed. Never did hear the monitor go off anymore except for 4 o'clock this morning. Between 4 and 4:30, I heard the road monitor going off again. Now, I haven't been up here to actually see if they came back into my garden or to see if they were just on the road out there. I don't know at that point. Okay, guys, the deer were actually standing right out in here last night. This is the first fence that comes into the garden. About 10 feet right there is another fence. And about 8 foot is another fence. And then about another 8 foot is another fence. And then is the road. Those 4 fences, they didn't think anything about them. They jump all 4 of them, and they're that close together coming right in here. So the fact that you got all these fences close together, that doesn't seem to mess with their perception. Now, maybe if they were 3 or 4 feet apart, maybe it might mess with them. But these are like 8 and 10 feet apart through here, and it doesn't have any bearing on them whatsoever. They just clear one of them, clear the other one, clear the other one, and clear the other one. Don't think anything about it. And then I have this long lane down through here that goes to my barn right here. This fence lane down through right here. It goes all the way down to my barn way down here. They walk all the way down to the barn in between all these fences down through here. They don't pay it no attention. They don't pay any attention to it at all. So we're going to be trying, Mr. Billy, we got his bone sauce in yesterday. We're going to be trying the bone sauce if it ever stops raining. That's going to be the big issue. It will not quit raining here. So maybe if the rain stops, we'll let you know if Mr. Billy's bone sauce works.